everyone. This has been a long time coming, and that is to finally get to listen to David Bowie. I guess it's been on the list since nearly the beginning of this journey, and well, today is the day. So I have some things to read about him, of course, but before I do, let me just remind you, you can check out my Ko-fi and Patreon pages if you want to support my journey or if you're curious what's offered there. We have all kinds of things going on. Right now, especially a weekly live gathering where we get together and listen to music and share our thoughts about the music together. And that's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I think everybody else there is too. And of course, exclusive listens and things which I can't put on YouTube because of copyright conflicts. So let's see what I have to know about David Bowie. I think that's how you say it, right? Bowie? It must be Bowie. David Robert Jones, known professionally as David Bowie, was an English singer, songwriter, musician, and actor. Somehow I always had in my mind that David Bowie was American, but when I read David Robert Jones, it sounds so incredibly British, perhaps even Welsh. I mean, I think of those names as coming from that part of Great Britain. Bowie's 1969 commercial breakthrough, Space Oddity, won him an Ivor Novello Special Award for Originality. For his performance in The Man Who Fell to Earth, he won the Saturn Award for Best Actor. In the ensuing decades, he received 6 Grammy Awards and 4 Brit Awards, including Best British Male Artist twice. The award for Outstanding Contribution to Music in 1996, and the Brits Icon Award for his lasting impact on British culture, given posthumously in 2016. In 1999, Bowie was made a commander of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres by the French government. And please don't criticize my French, I don't speak French. And received an honorary doctorate from Berklee College of Music. He declined the royal honor of Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 2000, and turned down a knighthood in 2003. Bowie later stated, "I would never have any intention of accepting anything like that. I seriously don't know what it's for. It's not what I spent my life working for." I like that. During his lifetime, Bowie sold over 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists. In the UK, he was awarded 9 platinum, 11 gold, and 8 silver albums, and in the US, 5 platinum and 9 gold. Bowie was announced as the best-selling vinyl artist of the 21st century in 2022. That's pretty impressive, because I don't think that he's one of the young hotshots coming up in the 21st century. He sounds more like a traditional, grew up in the 20th century, and still he's the best-selling vinyl artist of the 21st century. As of 2022, just a couple years ago. I think that's pretty impressive. 4 of his songs are included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 Songs That Shaped Rock and Roll. In the BBC's 2002 poll of the 100 Greatest Britons, Bowie was ranked 29. That's also kind of impressive to me. Okay, I understand all these music awards, this list, that list, whatever. We're dealing with music and musicians. If you're a great musician, you end up there, right? 100 Greatest Britons. I don't know how far back they count, but that sounds like the Greatest Britons. Probably goes a long ways back. And he's ranked as number 29. I find that impressive. In 2004, Rolling Stone magazine ranked him 39th on their list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. Bowie was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996 and into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2005. He was inducted into the Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame in 2013. Days after Bowie's death, Rolling Stone contributor Robert Sheffield proclaimed him the greatest rock star ever. The magazine also listed him as the 39th greatest songwriter of all time. In 2022, Sky Arts ranked him the most influential artist in Britain of the last 50 years, owing to his transcendent influence on British culture. He ranked 32nd on the 2023 Rolling Stone list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. That's quite a list of accomplishments and achievements and recognitions and awards. I think I'm still most impressed by his placement on the 100 greatest Britons. I suppose that includes scientists, discoverers, explorers, everybody. And a musician ended up on there. Pretty high on the list, number 29. I like that. Warszawa is a mostly instrumental song by David Bowie and Brian Eno, originally released in 1977. Bowie visited Warsaw in 1973, where he was struck by the devastation that the city had experienced during World War II and the resilience of its people. Warszawa is Bowie's tribute to the city and its people. The lyrics in the middle part of this are based upon a song by the Polish folk choir Slask. Okay, this sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. A tribute to Warsaw. Let's see what it sounds like. This to sound like a pun on words, but I want to say I'm struck with this bell tolling motif that starts at the very beginning, and when it first came in, I expected it. It took me a moment to figure out that it kind of sounds like a bell because of the other layers of sound mixed with it, that kind of ominous, rumbling, vibrating sound. But then, as this is progressing, this bell tolling continues through, at least so far. So I listened to another piece recently. What was it called and what was the band? It was about the man going to his execution, hangman or something.
Iron Maiden, hallowed be thy name.
Ah, yes, Iron Maiden, hallowed be thy name. And I remember the introduction there had this bell tolling, clock striking representation. And maybe because I listened to that so recently, I expected this bell tolling to end when the introduction is finished and then for it to launch into something else. But I love the way it's woven through, and the introduction, when we hear it, ends up not being a tacked on separate thing. It's actually an integral part of the music, and it simply comes first. We hear the bell first. This is the way that we are brought into this listening experience. And so far, this is really a rich listening experience. The other thing I'm noticing is this beautiful melodic writing, and it sounds so classically English. Kind of makes me think of composers like Vaughan Williams, you know, with their wonderful English style melodies. There's a little bit of a folk music quality to it as well, folk song quality, and melodically. But it's not a normal classical orchestra. It's a different set of instrumentation and sounds than your classic symphony orchestra, but it has this very symphonic and orchestral feel as we're going through this, almost like a movie score in a way, the way that some movie scores, soundtracks really build a feeling of, there's vastness, there's a somber element, there's a little bit of there's sadness, there's I'm hearing a feeling of heroism in a way, not the conquering victorious hero, but more someone who has fought and died well heroism, all coming out of this sound mix and the music here. Let's keep going and see how it develops. A bit of flute added in there. It's interesting the way the flute sounds are being, and I'm saying flute sounds because this is 1973. It doesn't sound highly modified, synthesized, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it's actual recorded instruments or if it's synthesized sounds. I don't know. There are some violins in there, some strings there, but these flutes are kind of intriguing me because it goes between more of the wooden flute quality, either wooden recorders or pan pipes or even wooden transverse flute, and then the more metallic, clear silveriness of what we normally think of with a modern transverse flute. And I don't know if it's some synthesized sounds or if it's layering, but it kind of shifts one to the other throughout a line. It's kind of intriguing me. Centuries of history in this section. I'm hearing the fact that some of this melody writing is actually based on the melodies of that bit of choral music there. The flute here is singing and that's just what they were singing in the text. Let's back up and hear that just a little bit again. Okay, I'm recognizing it now. That's an incredibly beautiful, moving, rich piece of music as far as the content the listening experience and the way I feel it. I'm almost tempted to go back right now and listen to the entire thing again. Just because I feel like I want to just immerse myself in it. I'll save that for off camera because I don't think it would be particularly valuable to this video for me to sit here and listen to it over again. Just just for fun. But it's rich. I don't mean that it's let's say complex and fancy in its design. I don't mean that. I mean that it is emotionally rich, and its message that it communicates is so beautifully presented. The nod towards Polish musical traditions, borrowing from a Polish folk choir's music. It's also beautifully interwoven. And yes, at the beginning, I still think it has a rather English sound, which is fair enough, since Bowie himself is English and is pulling on the whole English musical tradition. But he's doing it in a way that is a tribute, a nod of respect, more than a nod of respect. It's an honoring of the people that he admires, and the resilience that he admires in people of another nation, in this case, Poland. Really beautiful. And I hear in this, his feeling of amazement, the horror he felt when he recognized the devastation that Warsaw endured, and at the same time his immense admiration for the people as they have continued and rebuilt and stayed strong through all of that and beyond. I really love it. Well, as you know, I love beautiful melodies, and this one has some incredible melodies in it, and I just want to try some of them on the harp and see how they feel on the harp. I'll have to play back and forth here because I don't have a score for this one, so we'll just do it by ear and have some fun. Let's find our key. That's an A. So we have this bell strike happening. You have to say that sounds both somber, a little bit, there's a darkness to it. There's this heaviness and this weight because of the instrumental mix here. And when I first heard this introduction, I felt like I was getting ready to hear or see or read about some really terrible story. I feel like it's even heavier and weightier than Iron Maiden's Hallowed Be Thy Name, which is the one that I recently listened to that also had the bell tolling. There's something about it that just feels so tragic. Almost ominous. That's why I say it feels a bit like watching a movie, because many times when we watch movies, we know that the story took place in the past. We know that this is a movie about something that happened. Or it doesn't have to be an actual historical, but I'm talking historical because this is about this song is a tribute to real life events. We know that this already happened years, decades ago, but we are now going to watch a representation of it, a telling of it with our own eyes. We're going to hear about it ourselves. And as the stage, as the scene is set, the music comes to also help set us up for whatever we're going to be seeing told before us. it sounds like really great soundtrack music. I don't mean that to diminish it. What I mean is that it's incredibly evocative and expressive and sets a mood, not only a mood, but tells us what we are getting ready to hear about. In this case, it's as if we're on a hill overlooking Warsaw, and we are getting ready to see the devastation that was there. It's this feeling of, or perhaps even see the cause of the devastation. There's so much in here, and anyway, so we have this bell tolling. It's the musical mix that does this, because I can just play this. It could be, we can place it anywhere. It's simply an A, right? Oopsie, make sure I get an A. But to place it down in the bass, this deep tone, the harp almost gives us that same growly tone that we're hearing in the recording. Maybe if I rub my finger on it a bit. Kind of do a little imitation of that deep, vibrating sound. Not quite so good as the recording. But this is what we have to start with. Slow, steady. Yes, it goes something like, so singable. So lyrical, so smooth. It has a sort of expansiveness to it and a meditative quality, especially because these little melodic phrases, beautiful melodic line, and then the music goes on and we just get to kind of reflect on that we just heard. We could sing it over several times in this space between. Yep, and we have, how long does that go on? To kind of help sustain that. We still hear that C. Going somewhere now. Yes, he just modulated incredibly smoothly, which means I'd have to reset my pedals and figure out what key we're in, and that might get rather laborious for the purposes here. But we didn't even feel any sort of jagged edge. And that's one of the things that makes this so beautiful, is as he moves to different keys, he keeps it from being monotonous. This bell tolling, which could go on, does go on for practically the whole piece. If we simply stayed on A, if we didn't move to a different tonal center, a different home note, didn't shift around a bit, it would begin to feel dull. This piece of music should not feel dull. You don't want a tribute to heroic people to sound dull. You want it to be reverent, you want it to be admiring, You don't want it to sound trite, but it shouldn't be dull. And he does that by shifting, and I noticed in the first listen, he moves from one key center to another so smoothly, and he uses this bass note as the thing that makes it happen. You heard, starting out, we had this long string of A's. So much so that we kind of settled into thinking that we're going to hear the same note all the way through the piece. We hardly notice if we're just listening that it moves here. But now we're on C. And after we hear this for a while, suddenly we move down here. Bum, bum, bum. I guess that would be a B flat, wouldn't it? Bum, 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 dee, da, bum. Yeah, we've moved from A to C, now to a B flat. Still the same beautiful smooth melodies. Let's go just jump ahead a little bit. Let's try somewhere here and see where we are key center-wise here. Isn't that a bit jarring to jump a bit ahead because we didn't hear the transition from one to the other? This is kind of fun. Something like that. We went from E flat to F. Why am I doing this? Well, isn't it a wonderful thing to be able to hear a piece of music that is so moving? And to appreciate it, not only for what it conveys, but to appreciate its construction and the design of it, and to start to notice how it does what it does. And this is one of those pieces where he's not doing anything flashy fireworks. He's doing it in such a way that we hardly notice it as listeners if we're just listening through. It's so smooth. There's something almost soothing about it, in the way nothing is jarring, nothing is abrupt. It simply glides from one place to another. By doing so, he keeps the music moving calmly, without haste. We're not hurrying across this landscape. We're not in a rush to look away. We are not ashamed of taking time. We want to take time because we appreciate and we admire this city, these people, the story, their experience. Now, before I take my headphones off, I want to go and listen to the choral section again. It drops down here as rising bit of kind of rising up to hopefulness again. Wake up to this again. We're changing keys here again. Really an incredibly beautiful piece of music. I feel like for a composer, a musician who wants to create a tribute to an event, a people who have been through an experience like this, I feel like David Bowie has done an outstanding job. It has the right balance of warmth and admiration, as well as enough of the references to the incredible struggle that they went through. And it also nicely weaves in some of their own music in their own language, which is a beautiful way to come from your own world, your own background, your own sonic traditions, and add a special personal touch that is specifically, it's kind of like if you go to another country and you don't speak their language, but you learn to say a few things and they appreciate your effort, right? And it's kind of like that here. This is more than just we appreciate your effort, but still it's that same sort of gesture of including their own voice in this tribute. And it's very well done. I enjoy it. I guess I will listen to this one again because it is very beautiful just as a piece to listen to as well. Well, this is my introduction to David Bowie. And actually Vlad told me before I sat down, he said, you do have to understand that you can't pick one piece to be representative of David Bowie's output and his style and his work, because he tells me that it develops and changes and has a lot of different facets along the way. So I'm not going to say, well, I have now heard David Bowie, but at the same time I can say I have heard David Bowie and I enjoyed it and I appreciate it. So there we have Bowie's Warszawa, and I'm sure I'll be listening to more of his work in the future. I'll see you soon.